Hello everybody, John here, and today onto the garage I'm going to change the bush at the bottom of the front damper. Hi all! So where we left you last time was I'd completed the front lower wishbone or front lower control arm, whichever you choose to call it, and I've given it a coat of Built Hamber Hydrox 80 and then a lick over with some black Hammerite paint just to make it look a little bit smarter. No particular reason, if I'm honest. If you've not seen it already though, on the previous episode we discovered the method for replacing the ball joint in the lower control arm rather than having to replace the entire control arm. And it was pretty straightforward, as in it took me 3 experiments and 3 devices to do it, but it's making one of those, and I'm just going to leave it at that for now, and you can go back and watch the video if you want to know what it's all about. So that is done, ball joint in, all painted up. We also replaced the front control arm bush, because that had been installed previously and tightened up fully before the weight was on the car and then torn the centre out. The back one is in great condition for whatever reason. So that is all done. So theoretically that can go straight back on here, but whilst it's off, it gives better access to the bottom of the damper. Get round this side maybe, and this scrapped damper bush. Now, we already know that these are an absolute pain to get out, but I still want to do it on the car because me. So whilst it's got the lower control arm off, what I'm going to do is use my chain to jack up the suspension, pull it out of the way so that the damper eye is more exposed, and we'll crack on trying to do that. And just propped up on a piece of wood. Just getting my chain behind the top ball joint. So I've got my suspension hooked up. It's approximately level. Top wishbone is sort of horizontal. That's brought the bush nice and easy to see. We've got to push this out of the arm, and so you've got to find a drift that's the right sort of diameter. This one is the same diameter as this, so might have to slim it down a little bit. But even though this has got thin walls, it's going to damage this boot. So the boot will have to come off the new one to push it in. The boot on the old one I can wreck in situ. It probably just crumble anyway, so I can see what I'm doing. But to size this up, I might as well use the new one to do that. So we'll take one of the boots off. It's pretty easy to do. Just got to find the end of the wire, and on the new bushes like this, it's been painted just so it's easier to see. There you go. And it's like a circlip but spiral, a spring. So you just lift it off like so. Try not to stretch it out of its circular shape. There it is. It's just a spiral. So that's the bottom off. These damper bushes have got spherical centres, so if you try and move them off centre, they'll go very easily. And that will help you find the end of the smaller coil on the boot. Just managed to find, it was like a gap. I'm not sure that's going to show up on film, but I'm doing my best. There's a gap just there. There it is. So if I can grab hold of one end, there we go. I can just lever it out. And pop this off, like so. And with both of them off, you can pull the end, the boot off of there very easily. So there's a huge recess here to clip it back into, and a really good shaped detent there. Now at this stage, obviously we don't want to introduce dirt, so be careful what you're doing. Just want to re-centralise. And then we can look at this as a tool for pushing. And you can see I can get nicely onto there to push this out. But these are both the same size. So inserting this into an eye won't be a problem. But taking this and using it to push it out of an eye, there might be too much resistance on this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a slot in here using a 1mm wide disc on a grinder, and that will enable this to collapse and therefore go just a little bit smaller and go through there nicely. There we are. So just a 1mm thick slot through that. And if I just squeeze that in the vise, I know then that it's not going to be applying pressure to the walls of the eye, and therefore making it even harder for me to drift the bush out. So on the bench, I just sorted out my pullers. Tube big enough for one of these bushes to go inside, my pusher and a cap, just get the length right. As I mentioned, getting the boots off won't be a problem. There isn't one. All the rubber has just fallen to pieces there. So I can get all that out of the way. Yeah. Wobbling around, completely shot. Let's pop that through there. That through there. the anti-roll bar is a little in the way, as I know I've got to work on the other side shortly. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop round the other side of the car and disconnect the anti-roll bar drop link, and that'll enable this to push right up out of the way. Back in a moment. I'm back. All done, and now that can just push up out of the way or pull down wherever we want. And that's it, and we just tighten away, and hopefully the bush will start to move. That's better, more centralised. Okay, I think we just jump forward, something's given, check in, yeah. This is just a heavy job. It's all about strength and patience. I ain't got that much strength, so we have to make up for it with loads of patience. The tapping really does help, because when you've tapped it, you typically find a little bit more slack. Yep. Yes, starting to move properly. Having said that, using a 3-foot breaker bar, near, so near. I just run out of pushing length in there. I'm gonna bugger it up at this late stage. That way, and we should be a few seconds away from bush ejection. Whew. So the bush is out. Hooray! The pusher is still in. But we'll be able to knock him out. Let's find out. Yep. Thanks to that split. Yay! I'm spent. That's it for today. If it seems wimpy, have a crack at it yourself. These are a tough little bugger. See you again real soon, folks. Bye. You better not give me any trouble. If you just go to amazon.co.uk/shop/to the garage, and I'll put that link in the description below, it takes you to a to the garage area of Amazon that is categorized into hand tools, power tools, gadgets and gizmos, things specifically the XK8, etc. that I've bought from Amazon over the years, so that you can follow the same links and have a look, see how much those cost at the moment. Nice little feature. Thank you, Amazon.